Now, let's have a little more fun before we get into some more news. I talked about Martinley cleaners. Okay, so I do this for some guy, maybe some guys out there that remember this. We didn't have dugouts. Okay, we didn't have dugouts. We just didn't. All right. There's an old saying, "Ride the pine." Okay, ride the pine. All right. So what we had is we had a backstop. All right, a rocky dirt infield, and if you want to call that outfield grass. And then we went, and you want to talk about, we had no warning track in the outfield. Okay, Mansfield Township, Little League Baseball, we had no warning track in the outfield. And our fence line was drift fence. Now, if you're not from the Midwest, Northeast, or in that region that snows, you don't know what drift fence is. Drift fence you get in rolls, and it's just wooden slats. So you go out there and you reach over to stop a home run or something like that, and you got to bounce off drift fence. So that's the outfield fence, wooden slat, okay? Don't know what the outfield is. You would think it's grass. Infield is a rocky infield. That's how you learn what a bad hop is. I mean, a baseball player today really does not know what a bad hop is. It's coming right at you, and it goes that way, okay? Hit a rock, took a right. You learn to field a bad hop, and a backstop. So what we didn't have these dugouts. You sit behind a backstop, and we had these telephone poles that were cut off and dug down into the ground, and they set up this high, right? These telephone poles, 2 of them, pushed down in, and then you had the pine board across it, right? You had 3 telephone poles, and somebody nailed down a 2x12 pine, a 2x12 across through there, and you rode the pine, okay? Period. That's what they called it. And you sit there if you're 8 years old, a little kid, your feet didn't touch the ground, and there's all dirt underneath there because all that would touch the ground is your toes, and you're swinging them back and forth, right? Your feet didn't touch the ground. So anyhow, you're sitting there, and it's time for All-Stars. Now, here's where I'm bringing this up. Because it wasn't until today I'm wondering if there was not a political move here. And my childhood has completely been changed. So we're sitting there and we got all the baseball team. There's like 12 kids on a team. And back then it's 8, 9, and 10-year-olds, right? 8, 9, and 10. So when you're an 8-year-old, you get very little chance to play. Unless you're BKP. Just say it. So when you're an 8-year-old, you got very little chance. You're riding the pine. And especially, see, every team got to send 4 players out of 12, 4 players to the All-Star game. Now that was big. You played all year to go to the All-Star game. Oh yeah. My mom still has my medal. Oh, I just gave it away. Anyhow, so you play all year to go to that All-Star game to be picked. So you're sitting there, and Coach got his book, and he says, "Oh, this is Chuck Italian. Chuck, the guy from the Bronx, Republican, friend of my dad, talking on the sideline." So I said, Chuck's standing there, and he says, "Okay, it's now time to, you guys have done a great job, and this is the hardest thing I have to do as your coach is to pick 4 players, but I have to, and I've made some choices, and the way I looked at it was, who hustled, we had hustle back. Who hustled on and off the field, who improved the most, who are actually the 4 All-Stars on this team." And boom, boom, boom. So, now I'm not bragging, folks, okay, but just be careful here. So anyhow, I hear the first name, a 10-year-old. Oh, well, who would have thought, right? A 10-year-old, right? I hear the second name, another 10-year-old. Why, this is going to be a run on 10-year-olds. An 8-year-old just doesn't stand a chance. So then I heard the third name called. I'll never forget, 1977. I heard the third name. And I'm sitting there. The other kids don't care. But I have worked my whole life, all of 8 years, for this moment. It's the All-Star game. And I had my pro kids on, my sneakers. I was ready. So anyhow, I go, and we got 3 names, and we're sitting there. And there's this eternity, a pause for eternity. And I'm waiting for that 4th name to come across Coach Italian's lips. That would one day be Speaker of the House. And the next name he said was Brian Pritchard. And I said, whoa, 10, 10, 10, and an 8-year-old. I made the All-Star team. So I'm all excited. So anyhow, I get done, I go get into the car, I'm all excited, I'm worked up, I can't sleep. The All-Star game's in 2 weeks, and we got to get started for All-Stars. We start practicing. And my dad says, you know what you need for the All-Star game? Now this is BC. This is BC. What's that mean? Before cleats. We didn't have cleats. No, God no. I mean, we didn't have cleats. I mean, we bought tennis shoes at the grocery store. I mean, your mom went to the grocery store. There was a carousel of tennis shoes, you know, for $3.99. You got a new pair. We didn't have fancy, you know, basketball shoes and cleats and everything. It's 1970s, somewhere in the early 70s. So my dad said, you know what you need for the All-Star team? You need a new pair of high-top Pro Keds. I said, no, you got to be lying to me. Not Pro Keds for the All-Star team, right? Black high tops. Yes, that's what you need. So went down to the store, and I mean that white rim around those, that rubber white rim around the outside, and that white toe on those black Pro Keds. I laced those things up for the All-Star team, and it just bothered me that those things got dirty. But here we are out there playing the All-Star. First, just stay away. First 8-year-old to ever be picked for the All-Star team in Mansfield Township, New Jersey. First one, Chuck Italian. Now that I'm thinking about it, my dad stood, it was the fix-in. Was I a good ball player? I mean, this may ruin my whole damn childhood. Was it a political move? I'm telling you. I mean, you never know. Chuck did get the ride on the back of the, you know, convertible in the parades. I'm going to have to take a break. My whole childhood has turned upside down. I thought I excelled at 8 years old and made the All-Star team. Now I'm finding out it could have been a Republican fix by the future Speaker of the House of State of New Jersey and my dad. It may have been the fix was in. I got to take a break. Now I'm going to come back. We're going to talk about a couple more things. Take a little break. Let's have fun. And like when I start to get away from that negative news for a minute, and we'll give you some more negative news in a minute. But I said maybe when I start talking about the fun and the joys of summer as a child, you know, you can come maybe more into thinking about, you know, enjoying 4th of July and all the fun you had with your friends in the summer and riding bicycles or whatever. So I thought we'd have fun, and I always like to pick these days. Right before Christmas I do that. I did one last year. But I like to pick these days and tell a little bit about myself. Now, okay, let me share this with you. I want to ask you. Now, you know I like baseball, so we're going to stay on the baseball thing. Where were you, okay, August 3rd, 1974? I want to know. It's like you're on the stand. Where were you August 3rd, 1974? I'd like to know. Well, I'll tell you, counselor, where I was August 3rd, 1974. I was at the Yankees old-timer game. Yes, I was. Put that picture up there. Old-timers Day. Hey, there you go. There's Yankees old-timers Day. Check that picture out. Now, can you tell me who's in the old-timer picture? Because of 1970s, all right, something. So I'm not quite able to watch these great guys in pinstripes while they're on the field winning all those World Series. But that picture right there, I remember not the picture because I don't remember that particularly, but on that day, Yogi Berra, Joe DiMaggio, Whitey Ford, Mickey Mantle, and Casey Stengel, right there in that picture, Old Timers Day, August 1974. I'll never forget it as a kid. My dad took us to Old Timers Day. Now, we always went to Yankees Old Timers Day, but that one in particular is the last one Casey Stengel was at. And I'll never forget, they played a little 2-inning expedition game. And I'll never forget hearing over the PA, the public, the PA out there, and the echoes in Yankee Stadium as a kid saying, Whitey Ford on the mound, okay, Mickey Mantle up to bat. Even though I did not get to hear them, Joe DiMaggio up to bat now, Joe DiMaggio, although I was not of the age to get to see them, play during their career, never missed Old Timers Day. Now, that is one thing I really enjoyed is when we went to Yankee Stadium as a kid, and I'll never forget that right there, 1974. Now, another one I want to give you a throwback is the greatest pitching duel I ever I had an opportunity to see as a kid. Like I said, I'm going to give up baseball in a minute, but the greatest one was at Shea Stadium, okay? And I used to love, my dad would take us, now we were Yankee fans, but we'd go to Shea Stadium because now my dad liked Tom Seaver. That's just the bottom line, put up Tom Seaver. So we would go to Shea Stadium, there's Tom Seaver, okay? The pitcher for the Mets, all right? And Steve Carlton of the Phillies, all right? There's Steve Carlton of the Phillies, Tom Seaver with the Mets. And we would go watch the Mets play the Phillies. When the Mets played the Phillies, we went to Shea Stadium. But the one I enjoyed absolutely the most is when we would go and watch Tom Seaver. I'll never forget as a kid watching Tom Seaver pitch against Steve Carlton of the Mets. So that's one I want to put down. Now, do you know, now I did not know, do you know your team's song before they came on? Now, when we were kids, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to come back. I'm going to set up one more thing and then we're going to finalize with some news, all right? There you go. Thank you, Sam. I don't have my glasses on, but I can see what you're doing. Sam has put a side-by-side there of Tom Seaver and Steve Carlton. Now, Ralph Kiner, every day in the afternoon, and leave that there, okay, we would watch, my brother and I, Jerry and I would go down in the lower level of the bi-level there, you know, in Mansfield Township, New Jersey, Diamond Hill, the lower bi-level, all of us kids would go down and we'd either watch WPIX Channel 11, the Yankees would come on, or we would watch the Mets, Ralph Kiner and the Mets, right? And so we'd watch the Mets every afternoon as kids when we were little. And, you know, you may not like this and you may not want to hear this, but all of a sudden, you know, I decided that I'm going to go to break saying, meet the Mets, step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies and bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets are really hitting that ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets in New York town. Take us a break.